Hi, I'm Heather Moll, and I teach at Saguaro High School, and I've been a member of the Arizona Geographic Alliance since I was in college, which was years and years ago. And I'm here today to show you a lesson that I wrote about character traits. It's about petitioning public officials, and it's about a 6th grade lesson that you can, of course, modify for other grade levels, but it's mainly 6. It'll take about 2 class periods for you to complete, and you will need computer access. So the overview of this lesson, we basically look and we say, okay, America is going to pride itself for being a democracy, run by the people, for the people. And when we look at that, we have to teach our students, teach the students you're going to be teaching, what it means to be a government run by the people. So the purpose of this lesson is students will learn how to geographically determine their local congressional representative. That's a lot of big words for them. So it's going to help them see who really runs their local area, or who really is in charge, or who their representative is in the big White House. The students will have an opportunity to petition their representatives with a letter concerning a current issue. Is it education? Is it healthcare? Is it military? What's important to your students? By learning how to do this, students will have the practice in becoming more active citizens, not just sitting on the sidelines. So the materials you need: you're going to need access to a computer lab, or if you don't have access to a computer lab and you have a teacher's computer in your classroom, you can use that with a projector screen. Google Earth student directions, they look like this. Very simple, one-sided sheet of paper for them to use. A letter to your representative template is something that was also created for this lesson. Kind of gives them a chance to fill in spots before they have to produce a full letter. I have a model included as well that you can read to the students so they can know what they need to look for and when they're writing. And then also online on this website you see on the PowerPoint is district maps. If you want the students to have more of a hands-on, in a sense, like paper hands-on, you can go to this website and print off these maps for free. If not, you have Google Earth, which this lesson is written around, which is pretty cool. So the objective: students are going to be able to identify what congressional district they live in. Now you're going to have the same answer for most of your students unless they happen to drive in from another pretty much city that your school is in. For example, I had a student that lived in Prescott and drove down to Scottsdale every day for school. So they would have a different district than the students in your class. They're also going to be able to identify their representative. We hear about all these different names in politics, but we never really know who our representative is. So this helps them figure out who that representative is. And then they're going to learn how to petition their congressional representative. You hear about people picketing and doing all this. Well, this is just one way for them to get involved. So here's session 1. Here's how you start the lesson. You're going to begin the lesson by asking your students if they know what it means to be a representative. Probably by the time you have 6th grade, you're going to have student government, and they're going to learn that their representatives are in student government, or maybe their teacher is a representative when it comes to dealing with anything at the school. So this hopefully will lead to a brief discussion on what kinds of representatives there are. You have city council, school board reps, all these different types. So next, you're going to ask your students if they know who their representative is. Some that have parents that are very into government are probably going to know, but most of your students shouldn't know. And then the very good question is, can they find out where that information is? Next, you're going to distribute the Google Earth student directions with the National Atlas map. That was the paper I showed you to begin with, was this instruction sheet. I've also included Arizona's national map, which shows all of the congressional districts. You can copy this on a single sheet of paper if you'd like. Now, you're going to go to the computer lab and complete the worksheet either as a class or have the kids individually complete them. And then at the end of the session, you're going to collect this worksheet to grade for completion. Now, what I'd like to do is show you how you should use Google Earth, and it'll help you kind of explore it beforehand before you go into a classroom full of students looking at you on how to do it correctly. So I have up in front of me Google Earth here, and what I've actually done is it's already been loaded, and on the direction sheets I say to close the tool, because depending on if your computer tech person has gotten rid of those tool sheets, every time you open Google Earth there'll be a screen that shows, hey, tooltip number 240. So here's what you can see is an example of what Google Earth looks like. Right now it's zoomed in on Arizona, but there is no boundaries. You currently just see the physical topography of Arizona. Down here on the left side, where my cursor is layers. Layers are the cool thing on Google Earth because it allows you to put different things onto the map. Now we're only going to focus on the government. So down here at the bottom, there is a more section, kind of has a little sticky note on it, and you're going to click the box right next. Notice that it kind of jams it with everything. You want to deselect everything but the selection that says U.S. government. So actually what I'm going to do, because that's just way too much for the kids to look at, is unselect more, come down and only select U.S. government. It's not as busy as it was just a moment ago. Now, I don't need city boundaries because I'm looking more for just U.S. congressional representatives. I don't need postal code boundaries, but notice how it says U.S. congressional. If I move that over, you can see U.S. congressional districts. You need to find out what district you're in. I don't need U.S. senators for this lesson, and I don't need U.S. school districts. So right now, as you can see, since I selected U.S. congressional districts, over in this area is these little stars that are patriotic. What you do is you look for your area. If you want the students up here to search an address, they can, but they'll need to zoom out a little bit. But in here, if you click on one of these stars, it's going to bring up whatever district that location is in. For example, the one I clicked on is Congressional District 5. Okay. On the directions, it tells them how to do every single one of those steps I just showed you. But the cool part about Google Earth is it doesn't just show you locations and information. It shows you now web addresses and information you find on the internet. So I know my representative in Congressional District 5 is a Republican, and I can click on the website that'll take me in Google Earth to that website. The first one, as long as it says house.gov, should be an okay website. It's most of the governmental websites for each congressional member. And as you look, you can click on their website and have all the information you need to know about your representative. Most importantly, the worksheet asks you for their addresses. They have two. One address in Arizona where their district office is, and then one in Washington, D.C. where they do most of their work. But what you do is you just go through here. You simply contact David, has all the information you need. That's what the students will be copying down in this lesson. But also give them time during this lesson to explore their website. Find out what they believe in. What issues are they pushing? And all of this is right here within Google Earth that allows them to explore. And then at the end of session 1, you'll be collecting that information. Now, session 2 is discussing this information. And that, is a copy of the directions I showed you to my right. So session 2, you're going to ask the students to review with a partner how they found their representative. So they should be talking about how they used Google Earth, how they looked on the website, they found the contact information, because knowing to find contact information on any website is very important. How they felt about using Google Earth. Was it easy? Was it exciting? You're going to run into the problem that all the students are going to want to look up their houses. They're going to want to look up everything. Give them time to play, but have them focus to find the congressional districts. Ask if anyone knows then what a petition is. Have any of them done a petition? Some students that are in student government will have done a petition for their schools because they wanted something changed. So get that discussion rolling. Get them talking about what are in petitions, okay? Have them know, though, that it is a formal request. It's not something you just throw together and mail real quick. It's a formal request to the government. So now you're going to discuss reasons people petition, why they write their representative. You want to guide them to think about issues in education, healthcare, economy, anything that they can think of. These can be simple ideas that just scratch the surface. You don't want them getting into very heated discussions at this age, but you want them to start scratching the surface and coming up with their own ideas. Then you're going to write these ideas on the board, kind of guide that discussion. See what you can pull out of your students. You may be surprised what you can find. Now, number 10 is going to distribute the letter to your representative template. That was also the other paper I showed you at the beginning of this video. So this is the petition form. This is the form they're going to fill out. It gives them all of the information, little spaces for them to fill it out, basically to template their their letter. You're going to have students select one of the topics that you've written on the board, one that they truly believe in, and you're going to have them write a letter. And on this paper, it tells them to write a small paragraph of who you are, why you're writing this, how you would like them to fix this, or how you think your representative should deal with this, and finally you're going to thank your representative for their time and sign it. So give them time to work on that. Go around the class, ask them if they have questions, and then once you see that they've finished the template, it looks good, it sounds good, give them time to finish their letters on a final copy. Maybe they're going to type it or write it on a notebook paper. So that would be session 2 or day 2. So here's the template as I showed you. And on the right-hand side is a sample letter that the leader of the Arizona Geographic Alliance wrote to Senator McCain asking for more support. And if you want, you can read that to your students so they can get an idea of what is needed and what kind of tone. You don't want them saying, "Yo, what's up, homie? Fix this." You don't want them saying that. I have students that try and write that all the time. You want them to be very professional and say, "Hi, sir. Thank you for your time. Can you please fix this problem?" It's kind of funny when they try and write in the simple talk that they're accustomed to. They're not used to formalities. So the assessments for this lesson, it's a 2-day assessment. The first day would be the Google Earth student directions. They can be graded for accuracy. It should be fairly simple. They have the correct address there. They have some information written down. You're good. 80% is considered mastery. Then students' final letter will be graded on the 6 traits writing rubric. Mastery is a score of 4 or higher on the 6 traits writing rubric in the area of voice, sentence fluency, and organization. You want them to use the correct voice when addressing the representatives. You want the letter to flow, not be choppy, and you want it very well organized. Finally, there's lots of extensions you can do with this. You can have students explore the maps in congressional districts. They can calculate how many districts there are. They can calculate how many representatives are per each district. They can mail their letters to the representative and they can see if they get a response back. Or they can exchange their letters and write responses as if they were the representative to kind of get an understanding of what all the issues are. And finally, they can use the representative's websites to learn about events that they can take place in. One representative I saw has a art show every year. He encourages students to come and draw art so that they can portray what they feel. And there's also different groupings and stuff you can find on their websites. Sources, of course, you can download Google Earth for free on the website. Any of the other links in my PowerPoint and in my lesson plan have different things to help you locate representatives and different information. That's basically it. You use Google Earth to find who your representative is. You write a letter to that representative and you learn how to be a better citizen. So I hope that you will enjoy this lesson.